All right, guys. Happy Sunday. I have a late night drop for you guys. This will be what's on my radar to start the week off. Some of these will probably play into the week. Some may drop off. The market right now overnight is currently down quite a bit. We are definitely swinging lower, and I have some targets in mind for these dips. So I just want to share that with you all. Before we get into the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Just leave a little heart or thank you in the comments if you find this video helpful. Also, share it out to family and friends if you feel that someone can benefit from what's being shared here. If you're not already subscribed, please do give a subscription. Please do subscribe and also set your alerts so you can get the alerts as soon as the video drops. So we're going to get into the charts. I don't want this to be a very long video, but I do have a few things to talk about. One, we're going to start with QQQ. And so overnight session has already started. So let me take a peek at the overnight number and see exactly where we are with price. And then we'll actually base that off of our conversation to on the charts that we're looking at. So the first one is QQQ, which is down about 88%, 0.88% after hours overnight actually. And that's about a $6.30 drop from where they closed. And that puts us at about 702.64. So we're going to mark about 702 just as kind of like our area to focus on as we go through multiple time frames. Okay, so we're just going to put like 702 as where we kind of have price at, just like a rough line here. And then we're going to take it to the monthly chart just to do the overall view of where the Qs are. And what we do have is a breakup structure that happened here with our April candle on the monthly. And of course, this is our current monthly May candle. And we have price pulling back. Again, we're going to focus on that number 702. So that's kind of where we are after hours. So monthly, again, all bullish with the breakup structure, and we're getting a pullback right now. There's obviously economical reasons behind that, as well as, what's happening with the global war, stuff like that, all influencing our trades right now. But for with all of that happening right now, we've been in a very strong and bullish run, and that seems to be continuing, although we're seeing a pullback. Now, on the weekly chart, what am I looking at for the Qs? I'm actually looking for the weeks to open up here on tomorrow, and I would love to see QQQ actually come down to somewhere around 696.68, and somewhere into this fair value gap, but find a bounce here, at least at around 686, somewhere around here. We want to see the Qs give us a healthy bounce. So keep that on your radar that although we're getting this dip, we're falling into a very nice weekly fair value gap, and we want that to sustain, and that would be a nice momentum play. Just a quick bounce out of a fair value gap. Let's see if there's another example of where that has happened. But you see this time and time again on multiple time frames. So we have two fair value gaps here, but I'm looking at this one right here on the wolf chart, and I'm looking for price to potentially get to this area here. If they do it overnight, that's something to take into consideration as we open. So sometimes when everyone's like, well, what made you get calls? Everything's so red. It's because I know where, I guess you can say money is positioned, just using the wolf chart. Just knowing where we have demand, where we have these bullish order blocks, where we have fair value gaps, where liquidity sweeps can take place. When you know these things and you map it out, then you kind of have an idea of like, okay, these things were the price swept through here overnight. The idea that they hit all of that demand, all that money, all of where we have buyers position, we're likely going to see at least an opening bounce, which typically plays out. You always do it with your confirmations. I love to see wicks at opening as well to kind of give me a signal that truly where I have my liquidity sweep set up and marked is where price is holding and we're respecting those areas of support or even resistance if it's a bullish uptrend. Right. So when we look at the cues on the daily chart, what we're looking at is the fact that at 7:02, that puts us right into the 12 EMA cloud. That's this blue cloud right here. And it puts us, I'm gonna take this off. We don't need this black line here. It puts us targeting again this 696 area, which is pretty close to our 12 EMA. After a bullish run, we have been off of the 12 since April break, right? So we broke a trend line here on the sorry, the daily chart, and we've come full speed here. So now where we have the Q's position is an ideal target of testing this 12 EMA. What I do want to make sure that it's always on your radar is that if we see price getting weak, we have this gap here that has not been filled on the daily chart. Okay. So I just would put this as a daily gap. And that could happen. And so you're just making your box here an area that price can fall to. Um, and if you've never really used this tool, you're just going here under brushes and you're grabbing the rectangle and you're putting your rectangle together and you're basing it off of the wick of the candle that's high and the one that's low, and that's the range of your gap. To, to modify your coordinates, you just double click on that rectangle, and to get the exact price of the low of the gap fill, that's going to be 677.51. So we can just go in here and put, let's see, price for 677. I think I said 51. It's going to give us that exact price. And then the price of the low of this candle, which is 686.48. So we're going to just tweak that a little bit. And actually, I was supposed to do the high of that candle, so that would be 682.70, 682.77, 682.77. Now we have the exact coordinates and we can put that in there. Another thing that you can do is now that we know that price is actually out of this box, you can set an alert for when price enters into your rectangle. And so now I have an alert set on that rectangle as well. So just wanted to give you a little educational moment where you can set these alerts on your boxes and set your coordinates. And what we're looking at is the fact that there is a gap fill. Now, once we get to this 12 EMA, I'm honestly expecting a bounce. Now, how strong of a bounce and do we get a new high from it? I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I'm just anticipating after we tap the 12 on the 1 day, we do get a bounce because you saw where we had the fair value gap. We have money demand there. So we're going to look to see how that reacts. But eventually, if we start seeing price come back into this area and we don't hold that support somewhere around 696, then that's when you're looking for that potential gap fill. And it pretty much can play out from there. So I'll keep that gap fill on my chart and you can as well. Now, again, on the 4 hour chart, we're at the 12 EMA. I'm sorry, yeah, the 12 EMA. But again, overnight, we're already at 702, which is the midline of this. We've already had this fair value gap candles close inside of it. So I'm just looking again for that same target somewhere around the 12 EMA on my wolf chart. And so we're just looking at the charts, going through multiple time frames, see what we can see. And if we did get to the 696.68, which is a high probability, then you're looking actually at a liquidity sweep on a 2 hour chart. And so that would be a wick, let's see, 696.64 would be our exact mark, 696.64. So we can base it off this 2 hour order block that we have positioned here. Now, when price gets this low, we're looking for a sweep and a bounce. I think this will likely happen overnight in pre-market, and then that will give us an opportunity at opening to probably see a bounce. You don't want to have your finger on the trigger ready to be bearish because of what the overnight and pre-market looks like. You want to see where we fell to. So that's just a tip for you. And what's great about the whip chart is it gives us the visuals of that. I'm a visual learner, so I like to see things um, a certain way, and these colors and everything that goes along with the wolf chart. When you master the system, and I'm certified in it, everything comes together and it makes these perfect trades. It gives us those 100% plus returns on whatever we're putting in. Okay, multiple times because once you've mastered a system, you can see these easy liquidity targets that price is probably going to get to. Um, so with that being said, if you are interested in getting into the Wolf Empire as well as having the Wolf chart, you can use the link that will be in the description to join the pack. Right. So 2 hour, again, easy target looks to be somewhere around this liquidity sleep area. Definitely looking to be a buyer. Because we've sold off so much from yesterday, I'm sorry, from Friday to where we are after overnight, I probably am just gonna sit on cash for buys, guys. I won't be doing too much shorting unless the market is proving it. So that means we'd have to really from here get weaker under 696. Now, if we're opening somewhere around here between 711, because that's a rejection area for me, is this area here, and we start to reject because we bounced in pre-market, then I'm actually still going to look at the opportunity to short to finish the move down to this liquidity sweep, unless we get a confirmed move upside. So I welcome a bounce because then that gives me an area, an opportunity to get into some puts and get the full move because it's just a high probability that we'll get this liquidity sweep here. So just keep that on your radar for QQQ. I won't go deeper into the time frames because overall you see what needs to happen, you see what's likely going to happen. At any time that you see price getting weak under 696, then you want to keep this gap fill in mind as a potential target because at some point price will come back to fill that gap. And you want to be on the right side of that trade because it will be a money making trade when you can get a gap fill like that. All right, so another chart that I had open because we were discussing it in the Discord was SoFi. So SoFi formed a double bottom. I have a trading view indicator on that also just confirmed it for me. And it kind of gives you a price projection of where price will go from this double bottom. I like where SoFi is sitting. Let me hide that all chart pattern indicators what's on my chart. So I just hit that. But I like where price is sitting here. Obviously we have to clear this hurdle and get pretty much above 17 22. But where are we looking to buy SoFi? I mean, it's in a really nice range right here and only looks bad if it gets under like I guess you could say 1477 or 1475 is where you're going to start seeing that it looks a little bit weaker. And then we have to really think that SoFi is going to come down much lower. But for right now, we have a great support area as well as demand here in these order blocks, but we're just like wedged in between buyers and sellers. And it's just a matter of who's going to win. But double bottom here on SoFi is something to watch out for. I think it's also confirmed. Yeah, on the weekly chart, we're just actually sitting and retesting this 12 EMA that we pulled back to, I'm sorry, 200 weighted moving average that we pulled back to. We bounced and tested the 12. Because we were in a downtrend and the initial test of the 12 will likely lead to a pullback. I like this. I like that we pull back to the 200. We're in a narrow state of these two EMAs. We're in a squeeze. And, so you just think about it like this. Are we going this way or this way? I like the double bottom setup at the 200 with these wicks as long as it holds to start to plan a move on SoFi. They have their next earnings in August. I just think this might be a good area for SoFi as long as the 200 holds. If you start seeing candles closing under pretty much like I said, the 1477, 75 area, then we may pull back to about $12, which puts us at a fair value gap on the weekly chart as well as the bottom of this 200 cloud. Am I saying that's going to happen? No, but can it? Yes, absolutely. And if it does, just be ready. So you know your targets for SoFi. But again, we're at a double bottom. The weekly looks good. We're in a narrow state. Um, when you look at their earnings, they didn't necessarily lose earnings or fail or anything like that. So it looks good. I didn't have UNH too much on my radar because they had such a bullish move. But now they're on my radar because if you look at the overnight session for UNH, you will see that price has fallen over 5%. And so we're at 371.98. So you can see here on United Healthcare, let's see, we're going to move these up. I actually had my targets a little wrong here. But we're at 371. Yeah, I had this extremely oversold. So we're gonna bump this up. And overnight session, 371.83. 371.83. So somewhere around here is where we are on UNH. And that puts us pretty much falling to a fair value gap about right here would be ideal entry. So put UNH on your radar. They are bearish right now. And so we're looking for that move to get to this fair value gap. So there could be more selling on UNH, but I think overall we can bounce. I think we can bounce from there, and I think we could have a strong recovery. So we'll keep them on watch and just set your alerts. Set your alerts on them and be ready for the buy. I'm actually going to look at the daily time frame on UNH as well. And at 371, where does that put us? That puts us near the previous month high. So let's go back to that monthly chart real quick and look this previous month high, somewhere near there. Okay, so what I'm saying with UNH, wrong chart. This is the monthly chart. Is with price pulling back and likely to test a fair value gap. I'm sorry, not a fair value gap on the monthly chart. It's actually going to test the high of April, which was 371.99. Now, the news that influenced this, let's see if it shows up here. It doesn't, but I did mark it in Discord. What was the news on UNH? So it says that UNH cut approximately 1.3 million Medicare Advantage members to improve profitability while managing regulatory and cyber-related challenges. So we'll have to see how the market truly reacts to this news once we open. But for the most part, what we're getting now is a retest of April's high. We like that. Let's hold on the idea that if April's high will hold, then we're just retesting before we make another move up. There's still a climb here to even get back to the WTMA cloud and actually get to this fair value gap in the 400. So not really too mad at the pullback on UNH. This may be a good opportunity because where we landed it gives us that retest of April's high. And if that's validated, then we can start to look to see where price. I mean, there's a lot of room here on the daily chart when you look at order blocks, right? So I'm gonna have UNH on my watch list. I really like it. I would love if it come a little bit lower to where I was telling you guys. Let's look at the weekly real quick. Yeah, it's almost like it's validating this change of character area as well. Nice pullback. If the market holds on this and this is viewed as a strategic move to help UNH, then what we'll do is get a bounce and start to trade into that 400 area. So I wouldn't go so bearish based off of this breakdown on UNH. Now I've covered the Q, SoFi, UNH. We'll look at one of my other favorites, that's Tesla, and we'll look at where Tesla is. All right. I'm going to just take a peek and see where Tesla is overnight. Apple's less than only 0.29% down, so that's less than a percent down. Not bad at all. Tesla is sitting at 414, down $7 after hours. So 414 puts us somewhere around here. Anything else will be a test of the 200 on the daily, which is not a bad test at all. I still like Tesla as long as the 200 holds. So we can embrace that pullback, see if we are really reclaiming, because what you're getting is a break of the 200. I'll hide the clouds out for a second so you can see it. What we're getting is Friday after hours, their low was here. We came to the 12 EMA on the daily. We have a bullish crossover on Tesla here, where we have the 12 crossing over the 200. We were already in the order block from this last pump, which gave a liquidity sweep right above like 452. So honestly, puts would have played out after that. I just didn't think to grab puts. I've just been day trading and it's working out well since I caught some of the bounce. But what we're looking at now is the lowest we'll go is to come to this sorry, this 200. And if you look at their daily chart, there's also a gap that we should keep in mind. It's not a big gap, honestly. Let's see how delete this for a second. Yeah, it's a very small gap right here. Um, Again, this is just something to be aware of that if price starts to get weak and ever comes close to this, then you're looking for a gap fill and how price reacts at that gap fill. So you can again make that exact with your coordinates and you can set your alerts here. That's a pretty steep drop on Tesla from where they are, so I'm not saying that's going to happen anytime soon. There is a small gap here as well because we had a high of 415.83 and then the low of this one was 416. So a very small gap here that could actually play out. But again, in theory, if anything was to go low, if we were to go lower on Tesla and not hold at the 12 at opening, then the 200 is where we're probably going to come retest because we're getting a break and we can just come back and retest it. So keep that on your radar with Tesla. Don't go super bullish because we're at the 12. What you want to see is maybe potentially that retest of the 200. Again, you're getting a break and we're getting a retest. Is that a crash? Absolutely not. That is, again, a break and retest. Now we need to validate that as we retest this area, we are going to hold. So that's my story in Tesla. Now I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek, and I'm also going to post this on my YouTube channel of my watch list for the week. So here are some of the pickers that will be on my watch list. We have Fig at number one, had a really great move, especially on Friday. You want to check them out. I will not be covering any of these right now on the video. I may come back midweek and give any updates, but just compare what happened in the last watch list that we were covering. So we have Fig, we have Microsoft, Palo Alto, which has earnings, I think, building up in June. And I had a really great trade. We were on the Voices in Discord in the Wolf Empire, and we caught Palo Alto breaking out to, I think, a level that I had. Let's see, what was our level on pawn? Let's see. So they're basically getting a lot of I guess you can say volume and push because of earnings probably ahead and any positive news leading up to earnings. They have earnings set for June 2nd, and my target was 244, and they squeezed right a bit above it. I was able to sell three ODTEs on a Friday. I would say that's a good trade on Palo Alto. Now I'm going to look for a valid trade plan leading up to the rest of their earnings. There's plenty of time to get in for June if they're going to be bullish. They're at all-time highs, so you're going to welcome any pullback and base your trades off of entries at order blocks and strong fair value gaps. And I also have CrowdStrike and a few others here listed that you can do your top-down analysis on and see if you find them to be of interest to you. I'll have some runner-ups listed at the bottom here that you can also take a look at. And then yeah, let me know what you think of this trade plan, trade list here, my watch list, excuse me. This is going to be my premium watch list for the week. I think there will be some movers that will end up on here as I refresh during the week because we again are gapping down. There's also this high upside aggressive watch here. So look at these tickers here on your spare time. And then a few of these are broken into our sectors. So keep an eye out on this watch list, guys. I will post it on the YouTube channel for you to screenshot and review some of these tickers for yourself. Again, thank you for your time. If you found this video helpful, please again do like and give engagement by leaving us a comment. Also, check out the link to the Wolf Empire if you missed the free access. I think it may have been extended, and if it is, I'll go ahead and also post that when I post the watch list. If you're still waiting on my Discord, guys, we are still all plans are still lining up to open that up in June. I'm really excited. It will be a more intimate setting where we will focus a lot on learning because, again, the goal is to teach people to fish. I don't want to be helping you by just giving you calls or put plays. I want to actually teach you how to identify. It is definitely in sync with the Wolf Empire, guys. So just know I'm a wolf at heart, and although I will have my own Discord, you will always have access in a way to the person who trained me on everything I've learned so far. And so if you're interested in my Discord, yes, I will announce more when you can start to prepare to get in. Our go live is set for June 1st. Thanks and have a wonderful night.